we're back again with another episode of Breaking Bad.
So what do you think? Cool.
I thought I'd start off by explaining the cycle of a narcissistic relationship. It's 3 stages. The first is the idealization phase. The next is called the devaluation phase, and finally the discard phase. But it's a cycle because it comes back to the idealization phase in something known as hoovering, which we'll talk about in a later video in greater detail. But I'll go through these stages quickly before getting into the rest of the episode. The idealization phase is when the narcissist sees you as someone who is just as perfect as they are, which is how they see all strangers, oddly enough.
And I was probably dumb enough to buy it.
It isn't until they get to know the other person that the narcissist sees that they're just a normal, flawed human, like everyone else.
I saw your setup. Ridiculous. You and I will not make garbage.
But then their victim falls into the devaluation stage. This is where the narcissist starts seeing nothing but flaws in the other person and abusing the person for having those flaws.
Are you gonna stick me with that broken piece of plate?
And finally, the discard phase, where the narcissist either finds a reason to make you leave, or they just leave suddenly themselves. Sometimes without saying a word, and sometimes you never hear from them again. When you do, it's the hoovering phase like I mentioned, which you could also call the idealization phase part 2, or 3 or 4, depending on how many times they come back. When they suddenly decide they liked getting supply from you, after all, and just as suddenly come back, usually with a sob story or two, and acting as if they've changed in the ways you've always wanted them to change. But this is all a trick to get you back under their control, and this cycle will continue forever if the narcissist has anything to say about it.
Walt, are you in the house?
Oh, hey, Skyler. Yeah, it's me.
What the hell are you doing in there?
I'm back.
People with narcissistic personality disorder have to look larger than life. They have to appear to be the best, the smartest, the strongest, the most attractive, or whatever else seems important to them at that particular moment. If there's something to be better at, especially in a social situation, they will do everything they can to appear to be the best at it. This isn't at all about how things are. How could they be? Nobody's perfect and almost no one is the best at anything. But the narcissist will always attempt to appear to be the best there ever was at everything.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
To people with NPD, everything is a game. All of life is a game. And the narcissist's goal in this game is to win. Always win. Every conversation they have is a part of this game. How they win a conversation is by dominating it, forcing everyone who's a part of it to focus on the narcissist and agree with everything they say. And anyone who doesn't immediately agree will be devalued, bullied, and abused until they either comply with the narcissist or leave the group. In these situations, the narcissist will not listen to reason or conflicting opinions. They won't see the side of anyone else, so they do typically end up dominating the conversation after all, and they see this as winning the conversation.
I won.
Others might see this as trying to talk to a brick wall, but the narcissist will never see it as them being the stubborn, boring one. That would imply they weren't perfect, which is something the narcissist will always think themselves to be. Anyway, we're on to episode 3 of Breaking Bad, and it's mostly about getting to know people. First with a flashback before Walt and Gretchen were dating, and again as Walt gets to know a person that he's captured and can't decide if he should murder or not.
Why not? Not a conversation I'm even remotely ready to have.
And how is it that narcissists get to know people? Well, through manipulation, obviously. But this specific type of manipulation is something called mirroring. Narcissistic mirroring is when a narcissist essentially becomes you. But not just you, but everything you want yourself to be. They become an idealized version of their victim. They construct a perfect mask of them, just for them, and wear it around them exclusively. They do this to seem like everything you want yourself to be. It makes them irresistible to their victims. And this is also during the idealization phase, also known as the love bombing phase. So while they are appearing like an idealized version of their victim, they are also overloading them with compliments and gifts or whatever it is the victim wants to make the narcissist appear like a soulmate or BFF to the victim.
There's nothing but chemistry here.
They do this to generate intimacy as quickly as possible, which is ironic because narcissists have no idea how to be intimate, nor do they have any interest to learn. The superficial is the only realm that's interesting to the narcissist, and that's all this is just superficial charm.
Salud.
I'll talk more about mirroring in just a moment, but before I do, let's note that while Marie is stealing from a shoe store, she's also overstepping her sister's boundaries to get her husband to talk to Walter Jr. about smoking marijuana, and he's not even smoking it.
Sure about that?
Yeah, pretty sure.
This was all inferred because of something Skylar told Marie, and it becomes a huge case of making something out of nothing.
Walter Jr.'s on pot?
What? No! Right hand to God, Walter Jr. is not on pot. Certainly not as far as I know.
But narcissists may love the sound of their own voices, but they are actually some of the worst communicators ever. They don't listen to others, and though they can talk practically non-stop if you let them, they lie pathologically so you can't trust them. Narcissists also add and subtract details to their own memories when they don't agree with how perfect the narcissist thinks themselves to be, and they believe their lies completely. This is all due to their magical thinking, a phrase used for how narcissists believe their own lies in order to protect their idealized perfect mask. Anyway, as Hank takes his nephew to talk to a hooker, he is also stepping over everyone else's boundaries just like his wife is, in order to get his point across.
Just show us your teeth, huh? Come on, Wendy, let's see those pearly whites. Oh, God. See that?
You see, narcissists do not see anyone else's boundaries. Or if they do, they only see them as something else they feel entitled to cross over whenever they want to. People with NPD don't see other people as human beings with their own wants and needs. They instead see them as pawns in that game they're always playing I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Meaning, the narcissist feels they have every right to abuse other people and cross over their boundaries at any time. If the narcissist has any power at all, they will definitely use it to abuse people, and don't you forget it.
Hey, don't make me get out of the car!
Okay, as Walter is considering his moral quandary on the toilet, let's talk about something that isn't exclusive to narcissists. And that's that people tend to put things into boxes like this where things can feel especially isolating. They don't consider every option like Walt thinks he's doing here. He's not considering things like calling the police and admitting to everything. But a narcissist would never consider something like that because that would be admitting to doing something wrong. And something that a narcissist will never believe about themselves is that they've ever done anything wrong. Narcissists are also really good at convoluting an issue to the point you don't know what you were talking about to begin with.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Back to the subject of mirroring. Narcissists mirror the parts people like about themselves more than anything else. This is the narcissist constructing a mask just for that person. They have a mask for every occasion, and will have an individual mask for every person as well. This is why they might act very differently in public as they do interacting one-on-one with people. This new mask they're making, this idealized version of the person they are interacting with, is all a lie. It's just so the person the narcissist is talking to will see what they want to see themselves in the narcissist, and how the narcissist will be able to complement their own life. The narcissist is just like them, only better. But once the idealization phase is over, the narcissist sees that this person they thought was perfect, just like the narcissist, is actually just a human being underneath it all. This false mask drops and the narcissist begins abusing the other person and devaluing all the best qualities in that person until those qualities in the victim goes away because the victim stops doing them. Oftentimes, the narcissist steals those qualities for themselves, even if they aren't very good at them. Kinda how Walt steals Crazy 8's like of having the crust cut off of his sandwiches after killing him. Meanwhile, as the narcissist devalues and abuses them, the victim starts wondering what they did wrong, and why the person they fell in love with seems to have gone away. It's a very twisted game where the victim will blame themselves for what happened and try to fix it, but the narcissist will just keep finding more and more things wrong with the victim. If the game continues long enough, the narcissist will devalue the victim until they become nothing of their former selves. Sometimes victims who get to this phase can become their old selves again, but they have to get away from the narcissist first and foremost. But narcissistic mirroring is just a tool for the narcissist to get their victims under their control as quickly as possible, by generating intimacy in this way. Unfortunately, it also makes it hard to determine that someone is suffering from narcissistic personality disorder when first meeting them, because they at first appear just like anybody else. It isn't until the devaluation phase, when the mask starts to slip, that the real narcissist begins to come out.
Supposedly that's everything.
Yeah? Just seems like something's missing, doesn't it?